us today for this webinar dedicated to Qibates for Microsoft Office 365. I'm Ludovic Delfour, business developer of quartz-insight, and I will be pleased to accompany you throughout this event. Before we get to the heart of the matter, let me give you a snapshot of what you can expect from today's webinar. Regarding the agenda of today's presentation, the webinar will take place in two major parts, with a live demonstration of our solution first, then a second part during which we will do our best to answer all of your questions. These two parts will also be preceded now by a short introduction to our company and solution. About the speakers, today I will be in charge of the presentation, but I will also be accompanied by Gaël Roustan, Technical Director of quartz-insight, and Christian Montillo, the Founding Director of our company. Let me now share with you a few details about quartz-insight. So quartz-insight is an expert firm in the implementation of EPM and BI solutions. The values of expertise, partnership, and management are, as you can see on this slide, at the heart of our DNA. Expertise, since our consultants have more than 20 years of experience on EPM and BI infrastructure and applications. We also have an Oracle Gold Partner certification on this matter. Partnership, since to the extent that we always have the will to establish a relationship of trust in the service of the customers we are working for. Finally, the concept of management, which refers to the safe conduct of your projects while respecting your cost. Let me share with you a few details about our business now. As you can see on this slide, it goes far beyond consulting, since we also are a software editor since 2018. In a more detailed way, and as you can see, our areas of focus range from consulting to training. And as far as the software editing part is concerned, we currently offer 5 prepackaged EPM solutions, offers that address various issues such as application maintenance, load testing, or the digital transformation of the workstation that we will address today with Qibates. So what is Qibates exactly? Qibates is a SaaS-style reporting and management platform allowing access to your EPM data directly from the heart of your Office Cloud apps. Much more than a platform to access your business data, we designed Qibates to facilitate and accelerate your digital transformation by providing your users with a full cloud experience enriched with the collaboration and productivity features from Office 365 and Google Suite. Qibates is the guarantee of a unified mobile and secure workstation, compatible with any type of device as long as you have a web browser such as Google Chrome or Safari or any other available on the market. Today we are the first integrated solution allowing access to your EPM data directly from Google Suite and Office 365 web. This optimization of business processes translates itself into exclusive features that we have never seen at the heart of Office Cloud Suites. I'm thinking, for instance, of the visualization features, which allow you to navigate your EPM data freely, directly from your navigator. I'm thinking of the retrieve and editing features, which allow you to modify your EPM data directly from the cells of your spreadsheet online, or the calculation feature, and especially something unique that we do, that we enable you to launch all app calculations in the background, fully in the cloud, being fully in the cloud with nothing installed on your computer. Qibates is actually available as an add-on, activable instantly on your Google or Microsoft domain of users. For the demo part, we will focus on the case of Pierre. Pierre, who works as a financial controller at Kim, a company that we created for the purpose of this demo. Kim is a company specializing in selling video games online and offline as well in its many shops around the world. And the goal of this demo is to help Pierre keep doing what he was doing locally on his computer, but this time fully online, connected on the web version of Excel using Qibates. So the demo will basically take place in three different parts. First, we will see how to help Pierre importing existing files that he used to work on before, and how to connect these files to the EPM data source online. Second, we will see how to make a new an ad hoc analysis using the EPM data directly from a new sheet online. Then we will see how to, and we will explore the new collaboration and sharing features that Pierre can make the most of from Office 365, from the latest versions of Office 365. So let's start the demo. First, I will open the Excel file that Pierre used to work on before switching to Office 365 Web. First detail, while the file is opening, I am now using the desktop version of Excel on a Mac computer. This means our add-on is working on both desktop and web versions of Office 365. When in desktop mode, there is no difference between Windows and Mac version. Our add-on is natively compatible with both operating systems. It goes far beyond that, since it also means that on a client side there is nothing to manage. So there is no download or local install, no manual update, since everything is deployed instantly in the cloud for all users at the same time. Qibates just needs to be activated from the list of add-ons available for users. So I'm going to show you here that you have the sheet created by Pierre. I'm going to show you how to insert the add-on. So you just need to choose it from the Insert tab of Excel in the library of add-ons. So you click. Once selected, it will appear automatically at the top menu here. So you see the different icons of Qibates. Before showing you how Qibates works, I will first focus on the two main tabs of this file. These tabs which are used by Pierre and therefore needs to be connected in order to refresh the data. So the first tab, which you can see on your screen now, is dedicated to data entry or input. So this is a table where financial controllers for each country can access and modify various elements, including nominal sales, discount, and sold quantities, for example. In this table, there are, as you can see, some graphic elements we will want to keep. The formatting is already done with elements which are showing users in which order they should enter information, such as the year, the period, etc. There is also conditional format elements like a green arrow here, which is telling us if the result is positive or negative. We have the logo of the company on the left corner of the screen, and we have two charts linked to the main table here. So the first tab will mainly be used for data entry and control. And we have a second tab here, which is more dedicated to control, since we only have one element to select here, which is the country or the geographical area. So we have here the cumulated quantities sold on a selected year. And again, here we have a main chart with the small one there showing the year tendency for each country. So now let's open the add-on. So I showed you before how to activate it. Let's now see how to log in. So you need to fill in username, password, etc. As you can see, there's the window for that on the right. So this is where you enter your credentials. To connect yourself, you may use your essbase, Oracle essbase credentials, which is what I'm doing right now. Well, of course, each case might be different. For the record, you should know that we only rely on essbase native security and nothing else. in this scenario, you should also know that the digital transformation of Kim is already quite advanced, since the company, for this company, the essbase server is already hosted on premise, but on a YAS server, easily accessible on the web. So here I'm entering the server link. The stream is by default completely secured from the beginning to the end. We are only in HTTPS. By the way, we also have the possibility to use SSL authentication with certificates. This means we are capable to authenticate the server, but also all the requests coming from the client. This guarantees a complementary security for all requests arriving on your server. So once you filled in this, you just need to log in. And here you can see all the essbase clusters from the company. So to see what's inside, you can click on the cluster you're interested in. So I click, and then I see the list of the associated applications. Within this application, I can click on the cube of my choice. For example, for Kim, which is I will click there since it's the main cube of the company. But first, there is something you should know before refreshing the data. You need to go to settings to make sure that you keep the current Excel formatting instead of the essbase one, which is the one set by default. So you just uncheck the color coding checkbox to make sure that it works. Then you refresh. So I don't know if you saw it well, so I'm gonna delete data for the demo to show you that it's refreshing well. See? So in a few clicks, you can see that by selecting the app, being on the right sheet, I just need to refresh to get the latest data available from the EPM source, server source, in this case, Oracle essbase. What I can show you now is how to change the element of the country that you see here. So to do so, two options. Either you remember it and you know it by heart, why not? If you don't, you may use what we call the member selection feature, which you can find on the right. So here you select the country dimension you would like to see, and you can display, like, for example, within Europe, let's take France. So you check the box, you insert, and then you go back to the refresh button up there to make sure it's working properly, which is the case here. We can see the data changed as well as the main chart of the sheet. So we already have this first element of control for Pierre. Let's now see how it's going to work for the data entry part. This part is a bit different since we are going to use a complementary feature called data submission. So here, for example, we are looking at the numbers of a video game called Mass Effect. I want to enter some data in the iOS lines. Even though I know it's not released yet, we're gonna type in some data in the iOS and immediately submit the data using the save icon button on the right. As you can see, all the data are now automatically calculated. Automatically because on the essbase cube, which is connected here, we have dynamic calculations, including the indicators you can see here. What I can also show you here is the conditional formatting. So let's see what happens if we get negative numbers. For instance, if I put 78 after entering the new elements, I don't forget to click the submit button like I just did, and as you can see, the negative cells are red. So you can tell the spreadsheet format worked perfectly even after refreshing the data. The structure of the spreadsheet is still preserved. To summarize, you can see that the transition to Office 365 will actually be pretty simple for Pierre thanks to Qibates. he will just need to select and activate the Qibates add-on, use the credentials he's already using for essbase, and is able to refresh and enter new data. Thanks to the Office 365 collaboration features, Paul will also be able to share and work simultaneously on the same spreadsheet as his colleagues. So we are reaching now the end of the first part, where we are now able to connect an existing spreadsheet to Qibates. In the second part, we will help Pierre to assist him in doing an analysis, a new ad hoc analysis, in order to answer a question from his colleagues, which he cannot answer to since he doesn't have the appropriate Excel file to do so. So what we're going to do now is open a new spreadsheet. So we are going to start again from scratch. So I mentioned security features earlier. So as you can see, when you open a new spreadsheet, you need to re-enter your credentials. This is perfectly normal, and it's also linked to the essbase security. So here I'm in empty spreadsheet. I'm still on the desktop version of Office 365 on a Mac computer. So I just log in, and I'm gonna select my usual cube, so the Kim cube. And I will start this time what we call the ad hoc analysis. So before going forward, I'm going to check that the color coding of essbase is activated. So I'm going to check in the setting to do so. This will guide the users and help them to know which cell they can modify or not. So I activate the feature, and then I need to refresh to make sure that it was taken into account. So I refresh, but as you can see, there's no data yet, so it's normal. You don't see anything new yet at this point. So as usual, to get data, if I know where it is, I can perfectly directly type in the name of the elements I want to see. So for the period, I'm gonna select January and then refresh. So I refresh first to make sure that what I entered is correct. For the indicators part, I don't know them by heart, so I'm going to use the member selection feature again. In this case, I don't know where to find the element I want in the structure, so I'm going to directly do a search. So I type total star. So here I can select the indicator I want, which is total quantities, and I want also the sales elements, so I'm going to look for the net, okay, and net sales here, so I can tick it and add it. Insert. As you can see, the two members appeared on the left of the grid. Last step is to refresh to make sure that they are correctly placed on the grid. You can now see numbers appearing, but as you can see, they are in the red color, which means I don't have the right to modify them at this point. Maybe I'm too high in the hierarchy, so I might need to zoom in. So I'm gonna try, and now you see that it's a yellow color, meaning that I have the right to modify it. For your information, it's taking the color coding information from the essbase, Oracle essbase. Earlier we mentioned the geographical zones, so I'm gonna select a geographical zone, use the pivot table to have it in the column, and I'm gonna zoom into North America, for example. So I just select North America, and I'm going to add a technical member. So I'm going to look for it. The name is NA adjust that you can see here. So I insert it. So I'm going to add January as well under the adjustment column. Refresh. And I don't have enough data. So what I can do to fill in this data, to know the new data, I'm gonna call a colleague, for example, and share with him my spreadsheet so that we can work on the file together. This is taking us to the third and last part of this demo, which is how to make the most of the collaboration features of the cloud version of Office 365. In this part, we will see how to make a live chat on a given file, or how to work together with colleagues on the same file, how to enter data together. So what I'm going to do now is save this file first. I save the file, and what I'm going to do now is to divide the screen in two parts so that you can see the difference between a desktop user and a web user. So in this case, let's say I'm going to share the file with a colleague who doesn't have necessarily Qibates, but wants to see the file from his web browser. So here you have Google Chrome. So this other user will select the file and open it. You have the web version on the right and the desktop version on the left. You can see the two grids are completely the same. For example, if I want to make a comment on a given cell, so I'm going to type new comments. Are the quantities correct? For example, I send the message to the other person. If the other person is mentioned in the comment, she will receive an email to know that she received a comment on this file, this cell. If she's connected, of course, she will receive a notification like you can see on the right here when you click on show comments, and then she can directly answer within the reply box. For example, we need to neutralize the salt quantities. When the left user sees the answer, he is able to do the modification, so to neutralize the salt quantities for in this case. To do so, is going to use the member, the adjustment member we saw before. Once he has done it, he just needs to submit the data like I just did. Now we can find the data was well collected in the adjustment parts. We have the correct aggregated value. However, the neutralized part is not applied at this point because for the quantity part, here we are on the sparse axis, which is therefore calculated dynamically. There are calculating scripts made for this, which are also accessible from the Qibates platform here in the calculation tab. I can find there the script I'm interested in, which is the num1. So I'm going to launch it now. While this script is executing, I'm going to go back to the other spreadsheet. The calculation should take about 1 to 2 minutes since we have here quite an important cube. So I'm back in the desktop version in the previous page spreadsheet, and I would like to show you other possibilities provided by Excel and how to integrate our solution with them. So this is in the third tab, here called Global Adjustment, where we have a view per country of the salt quantities. What's going to be interesting here for Pierre will be to refresh this data in order to display it in a more visual way, in order to get a reporting which is easily readable. I'm connected to the cube here. I just need to refresh. And as you can see, you have the results. So this is another possibility where our Qibates add-on can integrate itself fully in Excel. And it's working in perfect harmony with all the graphic elements and charts within Office 365. So we're gonna go back to the other Excel file to see if the calculation script is over. So to do so, I need to open it again and refresh one more time to see if the calculation worked. The reason why it's not working is that I opened the file again, so I need to connect myself again and put my credentials, which is what I'm gonna do now. So it's a security feature from Oracle essbase. I click on login, the cube, and refresh. And we can see that it worked correctly since the data of the net sales changed. So we are now reaching the end of this demonstration part, which I hope was useful for you to better understand Qibates and how it can integrate itself with Office 365 and more specifically with Excel. I suggest we now proceed to the Q&A part. So we have a first question here. How many cubes can we connect simultaneously to Qibates? So in terms of cubes, there's actually no limits. You can connect as many cubes as you want as long as the server can contain them. And you can connect as many cubes as you want to as many sheets as you want. We have another question here, this time related to security. You are asking us for the two-way authentication, how does it work? Well, with two-way SSL, we will what we call encapsulate the request of our add-on Qibates with the certificates. So on the side of essbase, what you have is that the server only accepts requests with our quartz-insight certificate. This is an option that we offer that allows us to do what we call the double SSL. So the request needs a certificate on the client side, and the server both, essbase here, for example, also owns a certificate, which is why we call it the two-way SSL. Well, thank you for participating to this webinar. We are now reaching the end of this event. I invite you also to check our website quartz-insight.com to have access to all our frequently asked questions about Qibates and also get more information about the solution. Our team is also at your disposal to organize a private demo or to talk about your specific needs. Thank you very much again, and see you next time for another event with quartz-insight.